There are lots of different challenges when it comes to collecting data in any supply chain, particularly when you recognise that there are quite a lot of different operators providing the services in terms of execution of a movement of product through the supply chain. Most businesses have got a very mature set of data for finance and for customer service, but when it comes to environmental or social metrics, they are very, very difficult to actually come by. They need to be very clearly defined and they need to be consistently applied. And I guess the overarching thing I'd say is make sure that they're kept simple. I think when you're trying to track the progress in improving the triple bottom line, first of all, it's to adopt some industry norms. So, for example, in terms of health and safety, you might look at collisions per million kilometres, which is a standard measure across most transport operations. So having established that you've got a recognised industry norm is then to make sure that you're actually demanding that information, and you maybe write it into the commercial arrangement with the third party to actually make sure that they are obliged contractually to provide you with the data in a consistent and reliable format. One of the other challenges that's in this particular area is the fact that a lot of movements of product are dealt with on a spot basis. That's to say that you might use different hauliers, for example, in a transport solution for the odd load or the odd 10 loads, for example. The problem with that is that those particular third parties are providing services to a multitude of different customers, and therefore it's very difficult to make those demands upon those particular small operators. Again, it comes back to clearly defined data and making sure that they are reliably performed and delivered in a consistent format. Reconciling the collaborative framework that's required between different organisations, particularly when it comes to the IT architecture, is extremely difficult. IT systems are very expensive, and to adapt them is going to require a considerable amount of investment. I think the first thing you need to do is to understand the systems that you have in place, the processes that those systems support, and then the full cycle of order to cash for any particular products that you might be moving. I'd say again, you must keep it simple and make sure that it's cost effective. If you were trying something for the first time, certainly doing a workaround manually would certainly give you an indication to actually build a business case to make that investment. Accessing triple bottom line information is going to be extremely difficult, particularly if you've got disparate systems that are providing the data. You need to make sure that you've developed a portal that can collect the data electronically, consistently, and then present it in a very simple format on a regular basis. I would recommend that the sort of metrics that you'd like to see would probably be based on daily, weekly, monthly, or annual movements of product through the supply chain. I would expect them to be supplemented with graphs so that you could actually visualize the trends and the movement in those metrics as they improved or deteriorated. And they're supported with some commentary that actually justified why there was a variance, positive or negative. Implementing pilots in project scale has presented a lot of challenges to middle management, particularly with the customers. Their primary driver is that there is a customer on the end of the telephone demanding that they have the right product delivered to the right address in the right volume and the right quality. And they do that in a cost-effective way. To ask a middle manager to start to consider the social impact or the environmental impact of that execution is slightly alien to them. Their daily targets, their bonuses perhaps, their incentives are all geared around service and cost. So to actually get that engagement, I have to take those stakeholders with us and explain the importance. And invariably, anybody that's involved in the supply chain thinks of their own family, for example, their own lifestyle, and they can relate to the metrics that you're trying to improve. So I think you can do it, but you have to take the operational staff, the middle managers with you. And Project Scale has encountered some challenges in this area. And it's only through good dialogue and engagement that you can actually make some breakthroughs.